Marie Rhodes there.
Yes,
she
California.
Marie. Oh, there she
Marie
is.
showed up for duty.
Marie, unmute here. I'll unmute you. Where are you?
That's hilarious.
I've been watching about 3 of your 12 midnight talks.
Yes.
I love them. I think those are so great. You guys are so in love with each other. All of you are just one big love bugs. It's beautiful.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
I've learned so many interesting things. I just can't believe some of the things I've never heard before with what you guys bring up and talk about. It's wonderful.
It is tremendous.
It is.
There's VJ. Hello.
Hi.
Speaking of things that I was looking at this, there's this quote in here that I thought was beautiful in Listen to Humanity. The difference between love and intellect is something like that between night and day. They exist in relation to one another and yet as two different things. Love is real intelligence capable of realizing truth. Intellect is best suited to know all about duality, which is born of ignorance and is entirely ignorance. When the sun rises, night is transformed into day. Just so, when love manifests, not knowing, ignorance in parentheses, is turned into conscious knowing and knowledge. In spite of the difference between the keenly intelligent person and the very, now it just gets different. But that was the quote. So beautiful. The majesty of love, this is Hafiz, the majesty of love lies far beyond the reach of the intellect. Only one who has his life up in his sleeve dares kiss the threshold of love.
There's a line from Rumi where he says, by the time the intellect has selected a camel for the pilgrimage to Mecca, love has already climbed Mount Sinai. Or Attar, he was one of the perfect masters. When love shows up, reason disappears. Reason can't live with the folly of love.
How true is that?
Can't coexist. Oh, I like this one. Love is the last 30-pound bale. When you load it on, the boat tips over. That's Rumi.
Yeah.
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 I do have some quotes if anybody, I mean, short quotes if anybody wants to hear any, but if anybody has to say anything or do something, go right ahead.
Now, just want to say that the stages, intellect, reasoning, intellect, and then love. So intuition, illumination, and surrenderance. So Baba talked about it. So these in stages comes.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's intellect to intuition to inspiration to illumination. It's something like that.
Right.
This is Kabir. Kabir was a perfect master in northern India, and he was quite outspoken. So he says, friend, they refer to the guest, the prophet, or the avatar as the guest. Friend, find the guest while you are alive. What you call salvation belongs to the time before death. If you don't break your chains while you're living, do you think ghosts will do it for you after death? What is found now is found then. If you find nothing now, you'll simply end up with a cheap apartment in the city of death. If you fall in love with the divine now, in the next life, you will have the face of fulfilled longing. I don't know if that, did you hear all of that?
We could hear it again.
Okay. So you got to find it. Now, this is a quote that came up the other day, and I didn't have it exactly, but this is Mani Baba's sister. It is important for each of us who love Baba to be with Baba. Baba is with us every second, but it becomes complete when we are with him. That's the other side of the equation. Here's one of Mara's favorite quotes of Baba's. Seeds germinate in soft soil. I plant my seed of love, not in your strengths, but your weaknesses. Seeds germinate in soft soil. I plant my seed of love, not in your strengths, but your weaknesses. This is Rumi here. Don't turn your head. Keep looking at the bandaged place. That's where the light enters you. And don't believe for a moment that you are healing yourself. I'll read that one again. Don't turn your head. Keep looking at the bandaged place. That's where the light enters you. And don't believe for a moment that you are healing yourself. So he used to say the light comes in through the wound. Anyway, I got some more, but I don't want, we don't want to indulge the intellect too much here.
There's a Leonard Cohen song, and I can't remember which one it is. It's not If It Be Thy Will, but there's a song where he talks about the cracks are where the light gets in.
Yeah.
Does anybody?
Yeah, I know the line.
The crack. What Cohen song is that?
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Lanita,
Hello,
yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, Anita.
Go for it.
I like to to read this. It's a Meher Baba quote. It's very short. Don't worry about it. It's short.
Well, it's already taken 5 minutes.
Okay. It says, all prayers with a motive fall short of the ideal prayer, which is without motive. In the entire spiritual panorama of the universe, nothing is more sublime than a spontaneous prayer. It gushes out of the human heart filled with appreciative joy. It's self-expression of the free spirit without any actuation of a motive. The Avatar Meher Baba.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay Baba.
And then you know what Mark Twain said? Sometimes profanity gives as much relief as prayer.
Can you repeat it?
What's that?
Can you repeat it again?
Yeah, sometimes profanity gives as much relief as prayer.
Yeah. What is profanity?
Swearing. Swearing out loud.
Baba hated it, but it's sometimes what has to be done.
No, that was Mark Twain. That wasn't Meher Baba.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
I realized that Baba did not like profane language, but it's necessary in the West.
Yeah, it also happened around Baba, for sure. Hey, good, we got Alan now. The one haircut less after 7 months.
Yeah, How you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah,
Were you guys
we're.
talking about profanity?
What's that?
Were you guys talking about profanity?
Fucking
Yeah,
what?
I quoted a perfect master who said,
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. He was a profanity. Sometimes profanity gives as much relief as prayer.
Uh-huh. Wow. I was just listening
Wait,
to
you have to repeat
Padre
that.
talk about that
You have to say it.
recently.
You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. He was a profane master.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, say everyone.
Yeah, I
But
was just listening to Padre talk about how Baba and Upasani Maharaj especially used to swear black and blue. Like they would just swear like curse words or whatever back in the early days when they were talking. And he's like, of course they would. He's like, what do we have to say about it? You know, we're the slaves. They're the kings. They're like,
Yeah.
I just thought that was really interesting.
I did not know that. That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can find it on the Mondeley Hall Talks.
I still feel so much better now. Even if I'm not supposed to, it makes me feel so much better.
I was raised.
yeah, actually,
I
Oh,
was
go
raised,
ahead. Go ahead, Marie.
Okay, I was raised as a Catholic. I mean, swearing was considered like a mortal sin. You went to hell if you swore, so you just didn't want to swear. And when I was in high school, I read a book. It was a love story. I forget. It was really off key, but I fell in love with the person that was the main person, and he swore throughout the book. And by the time I reached the end of the book, swearing was totally innocent. It didn't have any power, you know, where before if I heard a swear word or something, it'd be, oh God, that's such a bad word. But by the end, you could swear anyway, because I loved him and he was so full of love that it just didn't seem like a bad word coming from him. He was a carpenter or something, so that if he had hit his thumb or something like that, he'd swear. And, you know, throughout the book, he'd use a swear word, but it lost all its power. It didn't have anything. So it was a big learning lesson how much power I could have given that as being such a bad thing, and then how innocent I could make it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's going to keep you from realization.
No, I don't think so. Thank God.
Well, I don't think I'm headed there this life anyway, so.
Yeah.
swearing, swearing from the perfect master is a blessing. Muhammad used to swear. Early days, Baba used to can his disciple. So it's a blessing from the master. If he swears, it takes out our sanskaras, but not for us.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody got anything? Kelly, you got something rattling around over there at your place?
Other than my brains.
Well, I have something that I'd like to read, a very short thing.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of all last week. All your pleasures and difficulties, your feelings of happiness and misery, your presence here and your listening to these explanations are all nothing but a vacant dream on your part and mine. There is one difference. I also consciously know the dream to be a dream, while you feel you are awake. That was Listen Humanity.
Yeah, beautiful. Read that one once again, Marvin.
All your pleasures and difficulties, your feelings of happiness and misery, your presence here and your listening to these explanations, all are nothing but a vacant dream on your part and mine. There is one difference. I also consciously know the dream to be a dream, while you feel that you are awake.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Just reminded me of the roller coaster we've been living through, you know.
Oh my God. Was that a roller coaster?
Oh, that roller coaster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the astrologers are saying it's going to hit the fan. Well, let's hope they're wrong. There's some interesting
Yeah.
things.
I do feel that the collective, there was a lot of commotion in the collective consciousness, and much of it has dissipated. I would say the world seems a little bit more like it was before.
Yeah.
I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Alan, what you got to say over there about anything?
Yeah, I was just thinking about. Well, I was just reading what you had sent. A beautiful piece of writing that you had sent over to me. That line that stuck to me was that you said, to tell the difference between the highest good or virtue in us on the one hand and the divine qualities on the other is like distinguishing between crystal and pure diamond. We have to become expert jewelers. I've just been thinking about that one today. The difference between that virtuistic, that feeling of or experience of doing the highest good, of like, I'm doing good for others, I feel good about myself for helping others, versus like divine love or divine qualities. It's hard to tell the difference sometimes.
Yeah. As I mentioned in that thing I wrote up, is that my early trips to India, Baba had me try set up a kind of course of study, so to speak, to distinguish between virtue and good on the one hand and love on the other. They look almost the same, but there's a line from Victor Hugo, the French novelist, where he says, virtue, as in the case of vice, is a calculated action, but love is not calculated. It wells up in the heart and expresses itself spontaneously. Kind of what Lenita read. Read that one on prayer again, because prayer is what comes from that other dimension that Bob was talking about, where there's no ulterior motive, not even a good motive or a virtuous motive.
Okay. You
Yeah.
want me to read?
Yeah.
All prayers with a motive fall short of the ideal prayer, which is without motive. In the entire spiritual panorama of the universe, nothing is more sublime than a spontaneous prayer. It gushes out of the human heart, filled with appreciative joy. It is self-expression of the free spirit, without any actuation of a motive.
Yeah. And what Erich was trying to bring home to me back in my youth, he said to me, totally out of the blue, in the middle of a discussion, he just turned to me and he said, Jeff, the accumulation of virtue is not the goal. Basically saying self-improvement is not the goal. To go beyond motive to that spontaneous love with its divine qualities of generosity, kindness, forgiveness. Those all come from the dimension of love, which is beyond emotion. But there's a line from Baba where he says, feelings and emotions are the creation of energy and mind. Love is the creation of the soul. So they come from our acts of love come from a different place. And that's really who we are deep down.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's this other thing in Listen Humanity, to garland me, to bow down to me, and to sing my praises are comparatively the three most unimportant things. The three most important things on the path to God realization are love, obedience, and surrender. There is no possibility of compromise about these three. Love is a gift from God to man. Obedience is a gift from master to man. And surrender is a gift from man to master. The one who loves desires to do the will of the beloved and seeks union with the beloved. Obedience performs the will of the beloved and seeks the pleasure of the beloved. Surrender resigns to the will of the beloved and seeks nothing. One who loves is the lover of the beloved. One who obeys is the beloved of the beloved. One who surrenders all, body, mind, all else, has no existence other than that of the beloved, who alone exists in him. Therefore, greater than love is obedience, and greater than obedience is surrender. And yet, as words, all three can be summed up in one phrase: love divine.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
It's interesting where Baba says surrender is a gift from man to master. So we have to eventually make. But well, who was someone read about coercion? That was Diana. Diane. Love won't coerce, so Baba can't make us surrender. We have to offer that. Surrender is a gift from us to Baba. You can't go over and say, Michelle, come on now, it's time to surrender. You know.
I have a quote here just in front of me. It's the one I read every day because it's like surrender is such an important thing. It says the only real surrender, that which is undisturbed by any adverse circumstances, and the individual amidst every kind of hardship is resigned with perfect calm to the will of God, Meher Baba.
Yeah.
That's been really an important message for me all along. So I keep it in front of me like I do a lot of quotes because I can't remember anything.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful place to be.
Well, it's a place to try to get to anyway.
And that's Baba's. He's working us that direction. Alan, with anything? Did I respond to that?
Yeah, I think when we're talking about like these distinctions or finding in the path, like, you know, you distinguishing between like your emotions and whether it's virtue or it could also just be like the negative feelings like hatred or resentment or, you know, whatever else it is. There's a sense that that's not a divine quality. I think with those other ones that are a little bit more prickly, you can kind of sense, well, that's definitely, you could maybe remember that's not divine. That's not a divine quality, but it does feel very real, and I think it requires like constant that, I don't know, like a space between that experience within yourself and that awareness that's not necessarily, I don't know what the word is. I don't know what to say. It's not Baba, but it's not who you are. It's not the truth. It cannot be the truth. And so there's some sort of space between that. So whether or not you're going through a hard day or a great day or whatever day, there's almost like the pendulum stops swinging from super high to super low to super depressed to super blissed out. And And then there's just like, well, I don't know. I just feel like there's a spaciousness that happens, but that happens. It seems like through little surrenders constantly. Like you don't just have this one big one where you're like, I'm done now, Baba. Like I don't have to deal with, Jack and Jill anymore. I'm free from them. I'm not upset about it. Like you kind of just got to keep going at it.
Yeah.
Hence the effort and grace. Is that sort of what you're saying? It's like you just kind of got to keep at it.
Yeah, I mean, Darwin used to talk about creating inner space, some room inside, so that you don't just go with your reaction, even your good reaction or your raw, selfish reaction. You got a little space where you can turn to the deeper heart where the divine qualities are coming in, and you can be generous and helpful and forgiving and patient, and you turn that way. I mean, if we can extricate ourselves. Oh, my battery is about to go. If we can extricate ourselves from going with our reactions and going with those divine qualities as they flow into us from Baba at the innermost realm of the heart,
Mm.
and give up our conditioning and turn to our soul, you might say.
Yeah.
And we know what those qualities are. I mean, they're the very best, are better angels, as Abraham Lincoln said in the Gettysburg Address, I think.
Mm.
But keep on going. I got to go get a cord. I'm running out of. Oh. Ah.
Well, how's it going, Ganesh? Are you at work?
Yeah, it's been work and all that. So Diwali is coming here. So it's kind of a festive mood now, but it's different this year.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. How's work going though? Is it a lot of things coming in?
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of work now. I hope it's all coming up. It's been like last few weeks, it's been a lot of work.
Yeah, like the heat's getting turned up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely like that on this side. People are less patient.
Yeah. Here's a here's a picture of Darwin. I don't know if you can see it. Whoop.
Wow, he's a lot older there.
Yeah, he's probably in his 90s.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What is it that he said to you? I think about that sometimes. Sometimes I laugh with my friend he's not a Baba lover, but I told him that line that Darwin said to you when he like something about dissolving the something. What is it?
One of his recurring sayings was, sooner or later you discover you're nobody, and that is not an unhappy discovery. You're relieved of having to be somebody.
Yeah. No, but there was that one moment though, you said, where you kind of came into a room and he was sitting there and you're like, hey, well, what's going on? What are you doing? And he said something to you about standpoints.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this was in the latter years. This is when he was about 96, and a number of us would be up at his house, kind of helping out and milling around. But at a certain times, Darwin would go into a very deep state of absorption, and you could feel it throughout the whole house. And we would not say anything. We would just all quiet down, and be quiet ourselves when he would go into these states. But on one occasion, I was sitting at the kitchen table with him, and he went into one of those deep states of absorption. And I looked over at Darwin and I said, Darwin, what are you doing in there? And he said, I'm trying to dissolve all standpoints. I'm trying to dissolve all standpoints. That's one of our big problems. I mean, when we were in early childhood, we didn't have much in the way of standpoints. So life was very expansive. And we weren't judging or evaluating everything. I mean, we were just in a state of wonder and, you know, great in the expansive present. But then, you know, through school and from our parents and everything, we suddenly start to develop this standpoint, good and bad, right and wrong, you know, loving, not so loving. And so now life is over there and we're over here evaluating and judging it. So we've split our being. And so Darwin was trying to get rid of that standpoint, that tendency to have a standpoint. Because when that standpoint goes, then you fall into existence itself. You fall from, you leave life and you fall into existence. But as long as we have a standpoint, it's like taking a shower with a rain jacket on.
So,
You know,
like,
you're really
I
not,
mean,
you're not really feeling it immediately. I mean, Lenita already does that.
so we usually have a standpoints, right? For everything, we just keep like between Republicans and Democrats, everything there's a standpoint that we think of. So means when you say we shouldn't have a standpoint, means how do we operate?
Well, to be like detached from the standpoints. Our sanskars are going to have a standpoint, but we're beyond our sanskars. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can be outside of your, you can see these standpoints, your sanskars forming standpoints because of your conditioning, but you can be outside of it and have no standpoint really. You're kind of more in a universal state.
Have you sat with moments of that, Jeff?
Yeah, there's a place within us that's not into that whole viewpoint. It's more of a universal kind of state of being.
Yeah.
Jeff, I had an experience recently that was just beyond belief, and I don't know where it came from or why I had it. I was driving to a doctor's appointment, and in my own mind, I was worried about a decision I had to make about whether I should have surgery or not. And I was in a normal state of consciousness, totally aware, present of driving. And suddenly it was like I was pulled out of my body. And what it was like a clear sky. And I was like in this perfect being of love, perfect happiness, perfect joy. And down below was illusion and everything in the, you know, right and wrong, good and bad, in and out, up and down. The whole thing was just a dream and it wasn't real. And it lasted for about 3 days where I felt this joy. And the joy was giggling and laughing, which I'm not a laugh. I take everything seriously. So yeah. I laugh at nothing. But what I've been left with is this feeling of being above. What the first thought was, I'm above the clouds. I'm above the illusion. And so now I don't buy into the illusion. I mean, I took everything, all feelings, all emotions, all thoughts, all of it was important to me. And now it's like none of it is important to me, but just sustaining that piece of being. And it's just this empty not knowing. And it was like, it was so unearned. And so, I mean, it was like, you want to know how you achieve something like that, but it was totally Baba's gift, and it was just amazing. And what a freeing! That's what I want. I want to come and say, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free, because I'm free from that constant curiosity and desire to do better or to find the right answer or whatever.
Beautiful. No, there it is right there. That's the place where your sanskars have viewpoints, but you're above the clouds.
That's exactly what the words
Yeah.
were that I heard when that
I'll
happened.
tell you, I mean, some of you have heard this, but when Darwin, when Darwin was about 95, we were in the refectory. And I'd known Darwin for decades, but he was very unassuming, and he wouldn't really, he didn't reveal where he was inwardly, but you had to kind of read between the lines. You knew he was in a great place, but he didn't talk about himself. But here he is, he's getting close to the end of his life, what's there to lose? So I said, Darwin, there were a few people around. I said, Darwin, you have a lot of rare wine in your cellar. And if you die, it's just going to go to your relatives. I think we should bring it up now and enjoy it. I said, and he kind of chuckled on that. I said, you've been focused, dedicated to Baba for the last 70 years, focusing on him year in and year out, day in and day out, moment to moment. What is your experience now? I thought maybe this might kind of unlock his reticence. And he said, just as you breathe in and out all day, and you don't say, now it's time to inhale, now it's time to exhale, now it's inhale, eventually life just unfolds. You're not trying to get things to go this way or that. You've let go. And he said, consciousness is therefore freed up at the level of the world. It's not trying to get things to go this way or that. It goes up to the level of the spirit, out to the far corners of the universe, and you live in and through everyone. So that was his experience. Once consciousness, like you said, once consciousness is above the clouds and it can stay there, there's no limit. It goes all the way to the horizon in all directions.
What I feel is happening now is that, because I have really bad dyslexia, I always try to organize things and make them come out right, because I read things, words, they change and stuff like that. But I don't need to plan, I don't need to organize. It's like everything is done for me. It's like I step into it, it's already done. So if you have to take a stepping stone, the stone appears as you take the step. It's like I don't need to know the stone is there, because it usually isn't, but the days just unfold. And when I can't find something, I simply ask and suddenly it'll be there for me. I mean, it's just magical how I need to do nothing and I know nothing. It's like I can remember nothing, because my memory, I have no memory.
Yeah, beautiful.
So it's not by choice. It's just that's the situation, the way it evolved into being. But it's the peace of God, is the peace of Baba, the love of everything is so miraculous. But it's taken me, I don't think just this lifetime to get here. I think I've had so many lifetimes to get to where I'm at. And so
you have to teach Ganesh that, because he has to go into the corporate world, and he'd like to just let go of his mind and just waltz in there and have it all done.
But you know what? You'll know what to say when you really trust. It's total faith and trust. You'll know. I mean, it's just amazing. Not that happens with me, because I need much more trust and faith. But I've found that having total trust in Baba.
Yeah. Beautiful. The victory is his. It's lovely. Yeah.
And I think more right now than ever, what's happening, we really need to hang on and trust.
Yeah. We're going to be all right.
We are. Absolutely.
Even if the heavens should fall.
Let not go the hand of God. Yeah. Ganesh, you got anything on your plate?
No, I was still thinking, my mind is like when Darwin was saying, Darwin was saying he's dissolving standpoints. What exactly was he doing? Means at the inner level, did he say something that he was doing, like reprogramming his thoughts, or how was he doing that? Dissolving his standpoints.
Well, I didn't ask him, but I assumed that he would take Baba's presence and just try to dissolve the standpoints. You know what I mean? rather than rising above the clouds, he wherever he was stuck in the clouds, he was taking Baba's presence in there, and which is Baba's presence and love is dissolving in itself, and he was just taking it in there and dissolving one thing after another. Any way he's hooked into the dream, all the cables that link him to the dream, he's dissolving.
So standpoint is not opinion, though.
Right. I mean, it could be an opinion, but still, it's you it's you looking over at life rather than being merged with life.
You're above it.
Into existence. Well, there's transcending the world, and then there is going within. I'm just saying, this is my feeling. There are two different directions. One is you transcend, the other is you go deep within, and you get hollowed out. In other words, all the planes of consciousness are all transcendent states, but Baba is saying to turn to him, to the real, and there you get dissolved. I mean, I've given this example before where, and I think this came from Baba. Erwin told me this, Erwin Luck, and I think it came from Baba. If you have to take down a tree, one way is you can go to the topmost branches, cut them, come down another 10 feet, cut those branches, come down, and go all the way down to the base of the tree. That's like going through the planes of consciousness, one after the other. But Baba's method, he said, is like Baba introduces termites into the tree. And the termites go into the tree and they eat the whole interior. So that to all intents and purposes, it looks like a living tree, but it's only held together by bark. So all a perfect master, all anybody has to do is just kick the thing over. The mandali were kind of hollowed out, and Baba was the inner dweller. It's there's nothing wrong with the transcending. I mean, we got saints on the higher planes that are helping this world out. Otherwise, we'd really be in a mess. But I'm just talking about what I gathered from Erwin Baba's way, is to hollow us out.
Well, there was a visceral, when you said that to me, it was like a visceral feeling or experience when he said to you that he was dissolving the standpoints. It was like very, what's the word? It's like claircognizant. Like I just understood, kind of like could feel that or grasp that experience of like, there's nowhere that the eye, that the small I can be, because it's resting in, it's like rested in him. It's just, there's no standpoint of like, I feel or I want, or there's no more wanting or not wanting or pushing or pulling. It's like resting in him. I mean, that's how I perceived it. There was like, there was nothing, the citadels of thought, of negative thought, positive, who I am, what I'm doing, who people are, where this and all is. It's like all that is, the foundation is crumbling into him. It's dissolving into him.
Yeah.
That's how I perceive.
Yeah, here's a very interesting thing. I asked Merwan Jesawala Baba's, Erich's brother, used to spend 1 month of the year at Mirazat. And so he would be in Mandalay Hall there with Baba for hours and hours, and witnessing Baba interacting and doing correspondence and all of that. And I said to Merwan, what thoughts and feelings were going through your mind over those years when Bob would be there you're kind of how Baba feel about you. How did you respond and react to what Baba did? He said, I had no thoughts or feelings. No, in other words, no self-reference. His consciousness was over into Baba, and he was not keeping tabs of himself. I said, Marilyn, I got to shake your hand. Nobody can do that. But that's giving up the standpoint. He gave up his standpoint and was over into Baba, looking completely away from himself. I mean, when we hear of people's meeting Baba, we want to know what they were feeling, what thoughts were going through their mind, what Baba said to them, how they reacted to what Baba said. And here's somebody who's not going to help us with that at all. No thoughts or feelings. His awareness was over into Baba. I mean, that's postgraduate level. But that's our curse is self-reference, and that's what Darwin, I think, was referring to. To giving up all standpoints is to give up self-reference. Experiencing life without over there saying, how's Darwin taking it? Go ahead, Lenita.
That's what Baba expect from him, from Marwan, that he had this kind of, hollow, not to have any standing point. That's what Baba wants for him to be.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, not that Baba was enforcing it, but love makes you do that. If you fell in love with the most handsome, charismatic guy, you would be stumbling over things and bumping into things and you wouldn't even feel it. You would be,
Oh, that's how it is, Jeff? Falling in love with the handsome guy.
Falling in love.
I never had that in my life.
Falling in love with every movement, every mood of Baba's, you fall in love with that. Because it's all coming from the ocean, you might say. From the divine.
Yeah, you lose yourself, you lose yourself in his love.
Yep.
Wow. How we can do that without Baba?
Well,
he had Baba. He had Baba next to him.
Yeah.
But we don't. I guess we do, but
I mean, I didn't meet Baba, but I read up and I kind of gathered all the material. So I created, you might say, Baba. And the Baba I created turned out to be the way he relates to me. In other words, you fill it in so that Baba can be with you in a way that is so intimate and personal and fun and all of that. Rather than just kind of keep him as some judge over there in the corner, kind of judging my life. I filled him in with every little thing I learned about him, filled out his personality so that I knew it quite well for myself. And then you relate to that. So that it is like being with him in person. We didn't miss him. If we a little effort and he can be right there just as he was if we were physically with him.
Well, isn't that I mean, I don't expect, because every time I say something like, I'd like to know what other people think or what other people experience, and every time I say something like that, nobody really responds. But you can just, in your own minds, I guess, reflect. But I wonder if you do not have that grace, or you don't feel those waves of love at some moments in your life, or some ongoing experience of him or his presence, then wouldn't it be at some point kind of challenging to I don't know. I don't know if how everybody, I guess I don't know how everybody experiences Baba or relates with him, because I know some people, they just enjoy reading Baba and they're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, Alan. Like I just like reading, or I just like talking about him, and I don't really feel anything or experience love. I like his cosmology, and other people are like, you know, talking about the bliss, and I just don't know where everybody's coming from. But I mean, I just wonder if we've got to have some sort of moments of his grace on the, you know, sometime.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, what do we? He's not just like the great, you know, taker and stripping us. I mean, he is, but it's. I think it's just not just a taking away, and we're all just left naked in the world, scared and terrified. You know.
I think, Alan,
Yeah.
it's what I have seen with people and what with my experience also has been is that he gives a sense of acceptance that something as a gift, it comes from him within, and that can't be put in words. So that acceptance, some people feel it readily, and they just get connected. So that inner acceptance which he gives is his gift. That is what I could gather, because some just don't feel anything, any connection, and they're like, I don't feel anything. And some people are like, when they come to Baba, they feel so deeply connected, and that's just a gift from him. That's what I have observed and seen and learned.
Yeah, you have both of your parents. If you you could, I'm sure you got their description of how Baba was with them. You get a sense of his personality. I like to say, I was always attracted to Baba's personality. So I'm up for filling out his personality. You know, Baba says, I am whatever you take me to be. And so he's kind of a composite of all the people that I've ever met, the best of all people I've ever met. I mean, it fills in the colors. Yeah.
Ganesh, your
Yes.
parents met Baba?
Yes, they have seen
Your
Baba.
parents,
Yeah, both
but
have seen Baba.
but you didn't when
I was
you
born
were a child.
later. So I was born later, after Baba dropped his body. So I was born much later, a decade later. So
But your parents are part of Baba's family? I mean, the community around.
they had seen Baba. They had taken darshan of Baba. Like my mother had separately taken and my father had separately taken, like before they met each other. So that was before. So yeah, but saying that, it's what I see is it's my own connection with Baba. It's through them I come to Baba. But what I've learned is like he gives that inner connection. Otherwise, you don't feel connected.
Yeah.
He gives you that inner connection. That's what
It's
my
a gift.
observation has been.
Yeah, he turns the
So,
key.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when the time
Yeah.
is right, because I saw his picture as a teenager, and it wasn't until I was 27 that I really saw. It was a year later. I mean, 10 years. It was a decade.
Yeah.
So he's in charge. It reminds me of that story with Norina, who brings her friend, very cultured, and Baba has her put the record on La Cucaracha, and Baba says no connection,
Well,
no
yeah.
inner leap, no inner leap. But wonder, maybe next time he comes as Avatar, will that have created a link with her? There's my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, I would say so. He may not
What's
even have to
La
come again.
Cucaracha? Michelle, what's the La Cucaracha's got to do with that? What did you say, La Cucaracha?
Baba had that record and played on the record player when this woman came to meet. Norina brought her friend, and he put on that record, had that record played, La Cucaracha, La Cucaracha. And
she was Spanish?
I know, I don't know if she was Spanish.
No, she was Russian.
Marina was like, my friend's cultured. You have to do this, this, this. And he played that record and she was not impressed. And Baba told her no connection. He went like,
why he put the records anyway? Who knows, you know?
Well, the thing is that he knew that by putting that record on, it would turn this Russian aristocratic lady off. And she would say, now I got to go now. And then afterwards, Norina said, Baba, why did you do that? Why did you ask me to play that? You know, because it's a stupid song, you know. And Baba said, she had no connection with me. No connection in this life. A living connection.
Of this lady and Baba, he felt no connection with her. He's God. How come he feels no connection?
Well, we're talking about a living connection in this life, you know, of her being a lifelong Baba lover. That wasn't in her destiny.
she wasn't ready.
She wasn't ready. Yeah.
She wasn't ready for him in his flesh.
Yeah, she wasn't.
Yeah, the same thing happened with Padre told that story. Was some great doctor came to visit Baba in the early days, and Baba said, have him wait over there. And then so the guy waited and waited and waited until he just was like, this is ridiculous, and he just left. And then Padre's like, Baba, that was like, you know, so-and-so, you know, Dr. So-and-so, like, how could you not see him? And he's like, we don't have a connection in this lifetime, it's no connection.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has a connection, but whether it's going to be activated in this life is a different matter.
How I find this out?
Huh?
I find this out from my connection with Baba was activating in this lifetime.
He activated it for you.
I like to know, Baba, if you got a connection with you or not. He never did this to me, though.
Yeah. No. I feel we've all met Baba. We've been with Baba in the 1920s or 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s. We met Baba. We fell in love with him, and that's why we're here.
Jeff, you said to me once that I was one of the girls in India on the street waving to Baba's car, passing by like a little Indian little girl.
You could very well
just waving and saw Baba.
I bet you were more than that.
More than that.
I mean, what are the possibilities of a young woman from Brazil growing up as a Catholic, getting drawn to someone 10,000 miles away, a totally different religious approach, and dedicating her entire life to him? How can that be?
Who was that? Ira?
That's you.
No, but who was there? Who?
Yeah.
Who I devote my life to?
That certifies that you are connected
But
with
Jeff, yeah. No, because, you know, I believe in that. You know, Baba took me out of my hometown in Brazil.
Yeah.
And he brought me to New York. You know, a month later, I met Ira. I was in New York for a month, and I met Ira. And he told me about Baba in the very, very first day. And then he was a bait. He was Baba's bait.
Yeah. But that's all kind of worked out.
I got
Baba
that one
worked
too.
that
Martin was Baba's bait.
Yeah. I knew he was just a piece of fish bait. I knew that all along. Hey, so Mayor Prasad, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
Not much, Jeff.
Not much. Yeah.
I have a question for you or others here. You know, in the late 1930s or early 30s, there was this story about some Hollywood person that heard it from Baba or got inspired from Baba. And there was a book called This Man David. Do you know anything about that? or anyone here?
Not much. It was a story, maybe a screenwriter or something, that he was part of those people with Bob in Hollywood.
Oh.
And it was someone has that the script of that story.
I searched for it. I couldn't. I heard about it long time back, but I forgot all about it. And I was just remembering today if there is something on that, but I couldn't find it anywhere. It doesn't seem to be.
Try Peter Nordine or David Finster.
Okay.
Those two guys are encyclopedias.
Boy, that's really interesting because my father had 4 brothers, and they started something called West Coast Theaters, and one of them like had to sign contracts with the early movie stars like Elizabeth Taylor and Margaret O'Brien, all those movie stars. This was before my time, but my sister met many of them. She was 13 years older than I was. And I've always wondered, and I'm always searching, like the picture I got of Baba. I paid $800 for this beautiful painting of Baba because he was with the movie star. I can't think of her name. Tallulah Bankhead.
Tallulah Bankhead, yeah.
Yeah. And I just feel like my connection really comes through my father, who was in the theater business, and that he must have had something to do with Baba when Baba was there, because they owned all these theaters. All my father's brothers all worked in the theaters. All their wives worked in the theater. They owned something at one point like 498 theaters across the country. And so they were real moguls at that time. I wasn't alive. I was much later than when I was born. So the Depression had set in. None of that affected me. But and my father died when I was 5. So, but my mother was part of all that Hollywood stuff, and my sister and all my uncles. I'm like 50% Jewish and 49% Irish. My father was Jewish and my mother was Irish. And when he died, both families completely disowned them when they got married. So I had no family because Catholics and Jews just did not come together. And so I didn't really find out about my father's family until I was in my late 40s, early 50s, and I searched out my family. And I found my uncles and family, cousins and things like that. And they say you can't go home again. But when I met these people, I swear to God, they were my family. I mean, it's like I loved them forever. And they felt that connection too. We felt this connection. And we had so much alike. They owned like the wharf as a child. We all got to go, lived our childhood at the wharf. And we all got babysat by movies. They put us in the movie theater at 12 and 1 o'clock in the afternoon so they could go places and then pick us up at 6 o'clock in the evening. And that was across the board. Every single one of my cousins had the same experience growing up. And so it was so neat finding that out. But I've often wondered and would love to know if my father or his brothers or any of them had some kind of connection with Baba when he was there.
Yeah. Yeah, Baba did spend, quite a bit of time there.
It was such an important part of his life down in there, of all the movie stars, and how he wanted to direct movies, because movies had such an impact on people's lives, and to use movies for the good of humanity. I thought that was great. But
yeah,
I just have always felt that somehow there's a connection, but I have no idea how.
Yeah.
But if you find out anything, I would love to know what you find out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you can read
about that story. I remember is that it was written in the 1930s, but it had a reference to Baba's face in the tree.
Yeah.
During that time, and I remember.
Jesus, I think it might have been Jesus's face in the tree, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something about the face in the tree, I thought it was, I don't know whether it was Baba's or Jesus. You may be right. But it's, I remember that story being very inspiring. The ending of that was very inspirational.
Yeah.
Is that the one with Mara seeing Baba or Jesus in the tree?
No, this was a script. A man called David. It was
man David.
A script for a movie.
This
that,
man, David.
yeah, this man, David. It was something that Baba looked at and was shared with Baba, but it never came to fruition, apparently. Yeah.
I'm wondering why nobody's ever taken. I love the story of the only play that I know of that Baba wrote, which is like sort of like on reincarnation, starting in a cave with, families together that go through time together until one becomes God realized. And
Yeah.
then that's never seemed to have been popular or anybody's ever wanted to do. And I
Yeah.
always thought that was
Yeah.
great.
I think Groundhog Day captured some of that.
Yeah,
The movie Groundhog Day.
I
I
love
bet
that
there will
movie.
be, in the future, I bet there'll be a movie about that story Baba
Yeah.
related, what Mary is talking about, king, queen, and their daughter, I believe it was, who reincarnate over and
Yeah, the
over.
three souls. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Someone is going to do that. And there have been certain versions of that already, but not as elaborate. Yeah. So Telly, what do you got over there?
So quiet.
It's quiet. Not much. Not much. Just enjoying the conversation.
Yeah. You got anything, any quote or anything there?
Well, let's see. Earlier, I was in a group, and I wound up reading a poem by Rumi, which really touched me. Your grief for what you've lost, and your grief for what you've lost lifts a mirror up to where you're bravely working, expecting the worst. You look, and instead, here's the joyful face you've been wanting to see. Your hands open and close and open and close. If they were always fists or always stretched open, we would be, or you would be paralyzed. Your deepest presence is in every small contracting and expanding, the two as beautifully balanced and coordinated as bird wings.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Read that once again.
Sure.
Lovely.
Your grief for what you've lost lifts a mirror up to where you're bravely working. Expecting the worst, you look, and instead, here's the joyful face you've been wanting to see. Your hands open and close, and open and close. If they were always fists or always stretched open, you would be paralyzed. Your deepest presence is in every small contracting and expanding, the two as beautifully balanced and coordinated as bird wings.
Yeah. Wow.
Beautiful. Jay Baba, good night, everybody.
Yeah. Who's that?
Michelle.
Yeah.
Okay, Michelle. Good. Great to see you always. Love to Aaron. Tell him, hit the books.
He was sitting here. Yeah, Jeff, maybe you need to have a conversation with him. Maybe turn off the recording for a second. No, yeah, he needs some yeah.
Well, he can call me at the center.
Okay, I will.
I'm there. Let's see, I'm there. Let's see, what are my days? Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, it would be great to hear him. And there is this young adult Sahavas coming up. Do you know that, Michelle?
He's 17.
Huh?
Oh, he can still go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 17.
He's under the wire. Yeah.
Just
Jeff, this
Yeah.
is gonna be on Zoom. This young adult Sahavas.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on Zoom.
Yeah. It'll be on Zoom, and
Wow.
they'll break off into little rooms. Yeah.
Come on and zoom, 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 zoom. Here we are. Does anybody remember that show? Yeah. Jay Baba, good night.
Too old. Yeah.
Good night, Michelle. Jay Bob.
Too
Yeah.
young. Too
Jay
old or
Baba.
too young.
Good
I
night.
wonder how this meeting is gonna be on Zoom.
Priya, how you doing? Well, I see Priya's written something down here.
Priya did a great job yesterday. She was hosting the arty.
Priya did?
She hosted the arty yesterday.
Oh, good. Telly's heading out, I guess. Yeah.
Telly left.
Telly just left. Yeah.
Yeah, I just read this. I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Baba said to who did he say this to? Norina. He said, "I am your first and last love."
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am your first and last love.
When she heard about Baba, Baba was seeing these people up in Harmon on Hudson outside of New York City. And people were telling her how they wept. And she kind of arrogantly said, I too would like to weep, something like that. And she went and met him and wept for 3 straight days.
Oh, man.
And why do they weep? Because it's the first time anybody's ever seen them and loved them for who they are. I mean, that's the experience. It's just divine love just completely takes you by surprise. I mean, if you had that kind of moment that some of those people had.
Yeah, when I read about those times, it seems like just so, I don't know, it just seems like such a sparkling, there's just like this crackling beauty in the air. It's just like very fresh. It's like a sea breeze or something that's constant. It's like a freshness when I read about those times that they spent with him, the Western women, especially when they were first meeting him in the 30s. I was just,
oh yeah,
it's just such it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baba swept them off their feet in a very natural way.
Yeah, sometimes that's a reference for me if in my life, if I'm feeling very cast away far away from the shore, then I just will sometimes think about that, or those times that they described, and it's refreshing, you could say.
Not only that, you know, over time you will have that. You will have that. I mean, as you know, when a lot of the sun scars kind of clear away and kind of get dissolved, you'll as you get older, you'll have a beautiful companionship with Baba. Unspeakable. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I would even, I don't know how to explain it. It's like if Baba didn't have that kind of romantic opening of like such beauty with me, I don't know if I was way too hard-headed, and I still am, but I was way too hard-headed back, a few years ago, where it would take heaven and hell and beyond that to make me look at anything. I mean, I was just like, there's no reason for me to be interested in somebody named Meher Baba. I didn't think I did. I was just like, nah. I had I was not looking for a master, not looking for anything. I thought I had it all figured out. So to have that beyond, something beyond yourself, you know, something beyond yourself. Yeah, that shifts the tides for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely his grace.
And you get kind of glimpses of it, and that kind of keeps luring you on.
You're
You know,
right.
little flashes here and there, and eventually the flashes start to become a little more shorter periods, you know, and you get a little bit more of a glimpse of what you've really got with him, what you've had with him all along. And
Right.
you get pulled in more and more.
Yeah, I think that's what breaks my heart the most, or that's sort of, I think, because coming to Baba, I mean, relatively recently, I guess in the last 2 years, it's like it was so I felt so there's a word that I heard recently from Padres, so what's the word, jubilant? Jubilant, yeah. I felt so overwhelmed with so many days of weeping and feeling absolutely his love and his presence, and then to go from that to like kind of the colder winters of, like, you know, but I feel like I'm getting over there's less of he really had to show me sort of that, like, the resentment part of myself. I think that's why it was so beautiful and so much so fast, all packed into so many months, you know, and then all of a sudden just, you know, radio silence, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was just like kind of lost it, like, what the heck is going on? And
The Sanskaric curtain drops.
yeah. Yeah.
Hey, are you able to get anything on your computer that we would be able to hear? That would be faithful. I mean, like there's a beautiful song sung by Eva Cassidy called it's called no, I'm gonna put it though. I think Alan's got a much better system. It's called Eva Cassidy, and the song is
Eva Cassidy.
I Know You by Heart. This is if you can get that so it is audible for us.
Eva Cassidy, I Know You by Heart. Let's see. Yeah.
See if we can hear it.
Is she relative? Is this a younger person?
She's passed on. She died at 33, but what a beautiful.
Her voice is gorgeous, and her song is just pure love.
Let me see if I can share this.
I might be able to do
or
it.
if you can, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm going to try it here.
Sure.
And I get the.
This has a lot of views on it. It's 1.9 million views.
Yeah, she passed on about 20 years ago.
It's not going.
She's very popular.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Song.
She was pretty popular.
But more after she passed on, Okay.
She's known for one special song. I think that's not her song.
Who was sharing that? That I could hear it way better.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Who was that? Was that
you?
No, it wasn't me.
Was it you?
No.
Who did it then?
Jaishima.
You?
Jaishima?
Yeah. Jaishima. Yes.
Ganesh?
Hey Jeff, can you hear me?
Jaishima. It's Jaishima.
Hey Jeff.
Thank you.
Hey Jeff. I don't know if you can hear me.
Jeff.
Can you hear me?
He's muted.
Jeff.
He's muted.
You're muted.
Hey Jeff, you're muted.
You're
We've got sorry, how do you pronounce your name? Jaishima? Jaishima. We've got a system over here. Somebody's got the song.
You couldn't hear me very well?
Couldn't hear it too well. But we got Jaishima that's gonna play it for us if you can.
Could you hear that very well? Oh.
No.
Now Jeff's muted again.
You folks,
Nice.
I mean,
Nice.
I
Thank you,
think of
Jessima, for
Mara,
sharing.
that Mara looking back at her times with Baba, all those beautiful times, just heartbreaking.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know you by heart.
I know you by heart.
Every little thing about him. That's what we're learning Baba by heart.
When she'd talk, when she'd say prayers, like when we'd have tea with her, and she'd say, Mary Baba, darling. I don't think I ever heard anybody speak words so beautiful in my life as when she would speak those words.
Yeah.
She just the beauty of her voice and her love just came through what she said, and it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, she was a Baba lover?
No, this is Mara, Baba's Mara.
Oh.
Oh no, Eva, no, she wasn't, but she died when she was just 33.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did some very beautiful songs. Sung from a beautiful, very beautiful place within her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Payam, are you around? Are you making dinner for the?
I'm here.
Oh, there you. Anything that comes up with you?
It's always stuff is always coming up between managing the frustrations and not wanting to do my work and wanting to just, be with Baba all the time and not have to get distracted by the deadlines. It's constant, but I am trying with dressing myself with Baba.
Yeah.
And it really helps. It really, I'm just amazed how it's like he brings me back to remembering him and bringing his presence. So.
Yeah, and you can do that anytime. After a while, you do it any spare moment. Dress your soul with Baba.
Yes.
It gets to
I'm
be.
starting to see that. Mm-hmm.
Baba said just 4 times a day, dress your soul with Baba in the length of time it takes to straighten your tie. But what happens is that Darwin used to say, you do it in the first thing in the morning, but then as it's getting in the morning, you say, oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 11:35. Well, in case I forget at 12, I'll do it now. I'll dress my soul with Baba. And oh God, I forgot 12 is now 12:13. Well, I'll dress myself there. And eventually it's strung like beads. It fills up all the spare moments of your day.
Yes. Well, I have some work to do before I get there, but it's getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a simple 4 seconds, but boy, those 4 seconds are loaded.
Yes.
Because they hemorrhage over your whole day, you might say.
It really is wonderful. He's made it kind of easy in some ways,
Yeah. But you and Alan and Ganesh should get together, and figure out this employment situation.
Yeah.
You guys, you guys had a little side chat room in.
That would be fun.
I like Mark Twain said, his definition of life is just one damn thing after another.
One damn thing after another. You know what, Jeff? That's what I've been feeling it more intensely. So past few years, it's just like one thing just gets over and there's a new thing that pops up from somewhere and that gets over and that pops up. I just like, and every time I try to break it, no, there's something else that comes in. And that's the pattern I've seen.
You know, on my first trip to India, I asked, or maybe it was when he came here, but Merji. Now, Merji was, you know, businessman, and he was like a millionaire several times over, thanks to Baba. But I asked him, you know, how did he solve worry in himself? And he said, solve it. Around Baba, it was like this. He made this gesture all the time. He never got rid of worry. It was like a permanent, I mean, it was an ongoing state. I was kind of surprised because I thought he would have worked through worry with Baba after, you know, being one of the Mandali. But like I say, I didn't feel bad if I worried about things. You know, if one of his Mandali is making a gesture like that, you know, I can't beat myself up about it myself. It's just part of comes with the territory, you know, of having a job in this world. But I think, Jasima, I don't think you have as much trouble as these people over here.
It's same everywhere, Jeff.
What's that?
It's the same to me.
Oh, the same. Yeah, some of us are retired, so although I'm not retired, that's right, I'm not. But I don't have to I don't have to bring my work home. But so Mayor Prasad, how is it? I mean, Mayor Prasad is you know part of this thing, but you're got a slightly better experience of it, right?
Yeah, you know, I definitely used to have the same problem too, but after I started giving it to Baba and feeling that Baba is working through me on his work, you know, things started to get much better in the past 1 year.
Yeah.
I before I start the work, I take a few seconds to truly feel that he is working through me on his work, and his work is really working on us to efface us. So throughout the day, that stays with me on whatever is going through my mind or whatever is happening at work. It's a way of effacement, and that's his work. And I just before beginning the day, I just feel that he is working through me, and that really helps.
Yeah. And he's gone through the whole thing. But of course he's older. He's got a little bit of white hair in there, you know.
A lot of it, yeah. Pretty much everything.
Yeah, Jay Sema, he's got, you know, hasn't got any gray hairs or.
Yeah, and you lose a bunch of hair too by the time you get there.
But it can be done. There's hope. No, that's beautiful.
No hope for it. No hope for the hair, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, lovely.
I think it's a gradual unfoldment that Baba does through each of us.
Yeah. And we're going to be with Baba. You think, oh, if I was around Baba, you know, I wouldn't have to deal with this. But it even gets intensified around Baba.
Yeah.
So if you learn how to do it in the corporate world or whatever, that's training for when you'll be with Baba, when he comes again. You'll be able to take a tremendous amount of pressure and still be able to serve him.
Yeah.
And remember him.
You learn to deal with the pressure.
Huh?
And you learn to deal with the pressure, and actually the Baba keeps on increasing that pressure.
Yes.
It doesn't get any small, it keeps on increasing. And he makes sure no matter what you do, where you go, what path you choose, what work you choose, he makes sure that he finds a way to bring that pressure in through that path, whatever path you chose. If you try to escape and do something else, he'll find a way through that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, Prasad's word, he finds a way.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
he does. It's like what does somebody say? He gives you those kicks. He kicks you, and then he gives you the kisses,
Yeah.
all in the same day. You know. So
Yeah.
you're just like, okay, Baba, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
You know, there's one person named Chitra Alvarado, and you know, she is like does such beautiful cooking and everything, and her whole longing is to be like Nadia, Baba's cook. So next time he comes, she'll know how to cook and go and be there and in the kitchen with for Baba. She's already, you know, applying for the job, but she's thinking in terms of, you know, getting the training in this lifetime so that when she's there, she'll be able to cook for Baba.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because she's already cooking for so many of us at the center and everything.
So
Chitra,
Jeff,
Chitra
do you have-
Alvarado. Huh?
Do you have somebody of the Mandali or somebody that you would want to be to Baba in your next lifetime?
I don't know. I'm just I'm just trying to get flexible enough that I can do anything that needs to be done.
But I feel like all Mandali are within you, Jeff, and we are enjoying that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like the mandali used to be there. We were with the mandali, and now they've all kind of gone inside. And Baba has filled up all the spaces that were previously occupied by the mandali. They're all within us, helping us, I would say. We're getting a lot of help.
Yeah, I think about it sometimes when I'm specifically I seem to be fascinated with those people and experiences that are most painful, but especially with people who I cannot seem to agree with or anything like that. There's a split moment where I think like, how would I deal with this if this was somebody that, you know, Baba wanted me to talk to get somewhere or something? Like, would I just throw my hands up and kind of like just become really defensive and say, forget this, like like I don't care, I don't want to do this, Baba, like forget it, like this is too hard. No, a lot of the time, I don't know, it feels like on a personal level really crappy to kind of give in and be like, yes sir, or yes ma'am, you're right, I was wrong about that, or you know, it's just, it feels really crushing to do that, but then for some reason there's less of a lasting mark or a feeling of resentment or feeling of I don't know what it is. It's just when I give in to the love like that with people, especially that I really don't feel like I have a connection with, there's less of, I don't think about them as much. They're not in my consciousness where I'm like, man, that person really did me wrong, and I said this and they said that. It's like if I just feel really crappy for that one moment where I'm like, yeah, you're right, I was wrong. Okay, you know, it really does make a shift in the moment and my relationship with them.
Yeah.
But it helps think like, well, what if Baba had sent me to like literally get some package from somebody and they were just being really rude and I was just like reacted to that with rudeness back to them, like I wouldn't get anything done. Nothing would be pointless. And I don't think it's a pointless reaction or a pointless interaction I'm having with these people I'm meeting. There's got to be a reason for it.
Yeah.
Some
Baba,
reason.
I couldn't get the passports for you and the mandali because I couldn't stand the guy. It was just impossible.
He was just being
Sorry.
super mean. I just didn't like him.
Oh, you know, this reminds me, this is kind of only vaguely related, but Baba asked Adi to see if he could purchase the Seclusion Hill, you know, and you know, he tried and he tried and he tried. He couldn't find out who owned it and how to purchase it or anything. And so Baba gave the job over to Sarosh. So what does Sarosh do? He goes up on the hill and starts building something. Starts building, and sure enough, the owner comes out there. And I think they got it for 1,000 rupees or something like that. But
Wow.
he figured out how to do it.
I like that.
What's that guy doing? The rumor spreads all over the village, and then the guy comes up and got the man. They're building something up on the hill. That's your hill, isn't it?
Yeah, and then when like Baba was told Padre that he had a certain amount of time to build something, I forgot what it was, to build something, and then he kept cutting the time, kept cutting the time.
Yes, Samadhi, the Samadhi and the
The
Baba's
Samadhi,
room.
yeah.
I think
He
Well,
just
no,
yeah,
no, it's
Baba's
that
room.
that tin shed.
Baba's room.
It's the tin shed next to the Samadhi. He was building it up. He got the platform, and Baba wanted it done so fast that on top of the platform, which he intended to build a stone structure, he had to just put up this tin shed, wooden and tin covered shed. What can you do?
Yeah, I mean the way that he kept asking him like, "Did you get that done yet?" And he was like, "Well, Baba, you just asked me yesterday." And he's like, "It's gonna take at least 3 months to like, get this and that." He's like, "No, no, 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 we need it in the next 3 days." And he was like, "Oh my God!" Like he was just rushing to get it completed. And Baba kept asking him, "Did you finish it yet?" And I was like, "Jesus, like that would be, it's really intense."
Yeah, he put tremendous amount of pressure on every
Yeah.
single one of the Mandali. It was like harassment for each of them.
Yeah. But the way I kind of look at it though is that we've got our guitar strings, and he goes, if a string is flat or sharp, he just will harp on that until you get the thing the right sound. It's not like you're doing anything for him. He is actually getting you to tune your guitar so that it's in perfect tuning.
That's a
You
good
know what I mean? There's the line from Rumi, you complain about the master, dear one, why do you complain about the master's harshness? When a man beats a carpet with a stick, don't say he's being cruel. He's merely getting rid of the dust.
But imagine what must have been going through them, right? I mean, for us in the world, if the pressure and all that gets to you, you find something else. In the worst case, you lose your job, you go find another one. But when you're staying with Baba, you are under this constant fear. He'll send you away if you don't do something, and then what? Right? You have this fear all the time, and there is no alternative. You can't go to anybody else. He's the only one. So
It is. It's. I remember when I was first went to India, I kind of innocently asked Dr. Goer, did you ever worry that Baba might, send you back into the world again? This is in the early 70s. She said, all the time.
All the time.
Never had that conviction that, oh, I'm a solid here.
yeah.
You're just that tentative. I was kind of shocked. I mean, I thought she might say once in a while, I felt you might send me back, but she said all the time. Who can live with the tentativeness of all, with your love, the only love and meaningfulness in your life, and you might get thrown back out to Briarcliff West. Something like that. No. Seattle.
Well, I mean, some of them are now, right? I mean, if they are reincarnated at this point and they're back in the world, like I heard that Norina came back at some point and is currently somewhere in the world right now as a doctor or something. It's like that person, that soul. Why? How could you have gone from Norina to some guy hanging out
Yeah, but
in the
this
United
guy,
States.
this guy's a real gem.
Oh,
Remember
you know
that?
him?
Huh?
Do you
Yeah,
know him? Oh,
yeah. He lives. He
We
was
know
on the
him. He's
board.
around here.
Huh?
I'm saying to Alan that we know him. He always around here, the center. He comes to the center. a
oh,
lot.
Wonderful. What? But very, very composed, very loving, beautiful soul.
Hmm.
So Jeff, what he does for living? Do you know? He's a doctor.
Professor at Eastern Carolina.
In engineering.
Huh?
In engineering.
Engineering, yeah.
Yeah. He sits across from Jim Watson, who's a professor in geology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, wonderful person.
Yeah. He doesn't carry a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
that's pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah.
there's one lady, she says she stays in Bangalore. She says she's Neelu. And she wrote a book also.
Huh.
You know that?
No,
Neelu,
never.
Vidya.
Calling her broker because she's gonna sell short. And with her holdings in the film industry.
Jeff, I came across somewhere I read it about those whoever came to the Baba's contact, they'll be just like their Baba's agents. Next time I remove that passage or somewhere it was written, those who came to my contact, they are like my agents. That is where I read it also, I'll tell you that I left it in this thing called in Mandali. There's a chapter written in the Mandali in the life eternal. In the life eternal, it is in the website of the Avatar Meher Baba Trust Organization website. If you open that Meher Baba Avatar of the Age, it comes onto the right side. You find Life Eternal book. In that, if you type Mandali, in Mandali 1 and 2, in one of the Mandali, he says about how Mandali, what are the circles, first circle, how many men, first, all that thing. Then below it comes to us, those who come into my contact, they'll be like my agents. I'll just try to locate it and I'll send you.
Yeah. And you know, the interesting thing is that Bao used to say, I'm just a potato. What do I know?
You did so much work.
Yeah, I'm just a potato. I mean, he used to say this is quoting Baba, knowledge is knowing there's nothing to know.
Knowledge is knowing nothing to know.
I mean, that's Baba's. I mean, like you suppose Ganesh, you had all the knowledge of your dreams, all the dreams that you ever had. Is that knowledge worth it?
No.
You know, well, and so we're in a dream, and all the knowledge we have is really, I mean, unless it's used toward love, it's just, you know, it's of no use. Hey, so I guess it's coming up to 12 o'clock, and we started around, I think, 10 or something like that. God, 2 hours just went by like that. It's incredible. Oh, I think the bouncer there, you know, Piam was going to run us out.
What happened? I'm here.
You're the bouncer. You're going to run us out. The bar is
yes.
Got to clear out. Clear out. Give my love to your mom. She was here for a good bit. Oh,
here's Glenn.
Hey, Glenn. Nice to see you. Beautiful. Yeah. Dinesh, we saw Dinesh a little bit, and Sham showed up. Meph, are you still there?
Yes.
Hey, Sham.
Yeah. Yeah, Baba.
Jai Baba. Nice to see
Very
you.
very informative and nice conversations by you and your other fellows.
Yeah. No, that's good. Good to see you. And Jasima, good to see you. Rosalie, you're in the dark there.
Yeah.
I'm
Mep,
groping
Mep,
for the light.
Mep is down out in the southwest. I don't know if it's Tucson or where, but and yeah. So I'm going to go. Lanita, thank you for staying up way past your bedtime.
Oh yeah,
Rosalie.
just an hour.
And Ganesh, did you get that thing that I sent?
Yes, I got it. I was going to reply that, so I'll reply. So
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
I hope I got I just got switched my email over to Gmail. Maybe let me write my email in here because I think some things are not getting to me. So
Baba's Jeff7@gmail.com.
yeah.
I memorized Jeff. Baba's Jeff7.
Yeah, I think, did I do that right? Yeah, that's it. So yeah.
Baba's Jeff.
Yeah, because I'm having to switch over. Yeah. Anyway, see you guys.
Good night.
Okay,
Jai
good
Baba.
night.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai
Jai
Baba. Wonderful to see you
Avatar
guys.
Meher Baba ki
We'll see you
jai.
soon.
Avatar Meher
Avatar
Baba.
Meher
Baba.
Baba
Ki
ki
Jai.
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 Avatar
Meher Baba
Meher
Baba
Baba
ki
ki
Jai.
jai.